Talk to me,
Welcome to a brand new episode. Let us discover your true purpose.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Purpose Wednesday podcast, where purpose isn't just something you discover, it's something you live every single day. I'm your host, Latasha Morgan, certified Christian life coach, certified professional life coach, board certified master Christian mental health coach, and a whole lot of other goodies, y'all. I've had an amazing day, and I pray that you've had an amazing day as well. Also pray that every day to come is even greater and more amazing than the one before. Here on Purpose Wednesday, we have honest, faith-centered conversations designed to help you heal, grow, and walk boldly in the purpose God has placed on your life. Our 2026 theme is confirmed, not delayed, walking in obedience, not excuses. And today's episode is called Why God is Calling You Higher, Not Louder. Let's get into it. What if God is not trying to make you louder? What if He is trying to make you strong enough to carry what you keep asking Him for? Many of us want greater influence. We want the bigger opportunity, the wider audience, the stronger impact. But, honey, we want more people to listen. But greater influence also brings greater weight. And before God increases what is around you, He may need to strengthen what is within you. Because louder is not always higher. Louder can attract attention, but higher requires responsibility. Nehemiah teaches us the difference. By Nehemiah chapter 4, the rebuilding of Jerusalem's wall was underway. The people were working, but they were also facing ridicule, threats, exhaustion, and fear. In Nehemiah chapter 4, verse 6, it says, "So built we the wall, and all the wall was joined together unto the half thereof, for the people had a mind to work." The people had a heart set toward the assignment, but having a mind to work did not mean the work was easy. Sanballat and Tobiah mocked them. Their enemies threatened them. The workers became tired. The debris was heavy. Some of the people said in verse 10 that the strength of the bearers of burdens is decayed, and there is such rubbish, so that we are not able to build the wall. They were not lazy. They were tired. There's a difference. Sometimes faithful people become exhausted, not because they are outside of God's will, but because they have been carrying weight for a long time. And this is where leadership becomes more than enthusiasm. Anybody can lead when everybody is excited. Higher leadership is required when people are tired, afraid, distracted, and losing confidence. Nehemiah did not respond by becoming louder. He responded by becoming more strategic. He prayed. He stationed people by families. He gave them weapons. He organized guards. He reminded them why the work mattered. He said in Nehemiah chapter 4, verse 14, "Be not ye afraid of them. Remember the Lord, which is great and terrible, and fight for your brethren, your sons and your daughters, your wives and your houses." Nehemiah redirected their attention, He did not deny the danger. He reminded them that the danger was not greater than God. Modern neuroscience teaches us that leadership is not only a thinking process. Our brains and bodies are constantly reading the environment for danger, safety, rejection, and threat, often before we can even explain what we are feeling. A look on someone's face, a negative comment, a drop in numbers, a disagreement, a problem at home. All of that can affect how we lead. That is why volume is not the same as authority. When we feel overlooked, misunderstood, or threatened, we may become louder because we are trying to regain control. But higher leadership requires us to pause long enough to ask, is this something I need to respond to, or is this something I need to regulate? Nehemiah felt emotion. He experienced grief. He knew fear. He became angry. But he did not allow every emotional reaction to control the mission. That is maturity. Higher does not mean you stop feeling. Higher means your feelings no longer made every decision. Nehemiah did not rebuild the wall alone. The people worked by families. They repaired different sections. Some built, some guarded. Some carried materials. Some held weapons. Nehemiah understood something many leaders struggle to accept. If everything depends on you, the structure is already unhealthy. I understand how difficult that can be. Purpose feels like a part of me. And, so I can be washing clothes, cooking, putting things away, or handling something around the house while listening to research for Purpose Wednesday and thinking about the next message. Ideas come to me all the time because I love what I do. But even when you love the work, you can still become tired. And I'm learning that I cannot be there for everybody. Sometimes people have to be there for themselves. I am not God, and it is not my job to be him. That is not a lack of love. That is a healthy boundary. Some leaders believe that resting, delegating, or stepping back means they are failing people. But let me say this plainly, very plainly, and I have to tell myself the same thing. If you were dead, they wouldn't have you. So while you are alive, let them learn how to survive without you. Healthy leadership does not make everyone dependent on your constant presence. Healthy leadership helps people grow strong enough to carry responsibility themselves. Nehemiah organized the people because the assignment was too great to be built around one exhausted person. Then we reach Nehemiah chapter 5. And this chapter is important because the greatest threat was no longer only coming from Sanballat or Tobiah and the outside enemies. There was injustice happening inside the community. Poor families were struggling. Some had mortgaged their land and homes to buy food. Some had borrowed money to pay taxes. Some of their children had been forced into servitude. And the wealthy Jewish nobles were exploiting their own people. Nehemiah chapter 5 verse 6 says, "And I was very angry when I heard their cry and these words." Notice that Nehemiah did become angry, but verse 7 says, "Then I consulted with myself." That is one of the most important leadership lines in the chapter. He was angry, but he did not immediately explode. He paused, he considered, he processed. Then he confronted the injustice. That is regulated leadership. He did not suppress the anger. He used it responsibly. Higher leadership does not only fight the enemy outside. Higher leadership is willing to confront what is wrong inside. It is easy to blame outsiders. It is harder to address unhealthy systems among your own people. Nehemiah understood that they could not rebuild the city publicly while destroying one another privately. You cannot call it success because the wall is rising if the people are being crushed underneath it. A ministry can grow while its people are exhausted. A business can make money while its culture becomes toxic. A leader can become visible while their family is falling apart. Higher is not only about getting results. Higher is about how the results are achieved and who is harmed along the way. Nehemiah's leadership also teaches us that prayer was not an interruption to the assignment. Prayer was part of the assignment. Modern leadership culture often glorifies constant activity, always connected, always answering, always producing, always available. But constant activity can create what has been called zombie leadership. You are physically present, but mentally and emotionally depleted. You are awake, but you are fuzzy. You are available, but are you fully connected? You are working, but your judgment is declining. Nehemiah shows us a rhythm of prayer and work. He prayed, he planned, he organized, he He guarded. He confronted. He returned to God. Christian tradition has sometimes described this rhythm as an ora et labora, prayer and work. Prayer and work. Not prayer instead of work. Not work without prayer. Both. Rest, prayer, and reflection are not always delays. Sometimes they are how God restores our capacity. Something can be life-giving and still require boundaries. You can love your assignment and still need sleep. You can love people and still be unavailable sometimes. You can be called and still need quiet. You can carry responsibility without pretending everything depends entirely on you. So what does it mean when God calls you higher? Higher means you do not have to answer every critic, You do not react to every problem. You do not make yourself responsible for everyone's choices. You do not confuse exhaustion with faithfulness. You do not build a platform while neglecting your soul. Higher means you can carry authority without needing constant attention. Higher means you can confront injustice without becoming destructive. Higher means you can delegate without feeling guilty. Higher means you can rest without believing the mission will collapse. Higher means you know the difference between your responsibility, someone else's responsibility, and God's responsibility. And maybe that is what God is doing in your life right now. Maybe He is not making you louder. Maybe He is making you steadier. Maybe He is teaching you how to carry the weight without losing yourself under it. So let's walk through the purpose pathway here so that we can heal and grow, right? So heal, release the past, and restore your heart. Release the belief that you must constantly prove your value. Release the belief that being unavailable means you do not care. Heal from the experiences that taught you to overfunction because you were afraid everything will fall apart without you. Ask yourself, what wound makes me feel that I must constantly explain, defend, rescue, or perform? Grow. Renew your mind and strengthen your faith. Renew your understanding of leadership. Leadership is not doing everything yourself. Leadership is creating healthy structure, developing other people, and remaining grounded under pressure. Strengthen your rhythms of prayer, rest, planning, delegation, and emotional regulation. Now ask yourself, what discipline must become stronger before my influence becomes greater? Walk. Move boldly and live on purpose. Take one responsible step. Delegate something. Turn off a notification. Take a real break. And that's hard to do, I know. Allow someone else to resolve a problem they are capable of solving. Address one unhealthy issue inside the structure instead of only fighting what is outside it. Ask yourself, what am I carrying that belongs to someone else or to God? God is not only preparing you to reach the position, He is preparing you to carry His weight. So do not confuse being louder with being higher. Become steadier. Become healthier. Become wiser. Become disciplined. Enough to know when to speak, when to pause, when to delegate, when to rest, and when to act. You are not God. You do not have to be available every moment. And I'm going to say it again. You are not God. You do not have to carry everybody. You only have to faithfully carry what God has assigned to you. Thank you for joining me for another episode of the Purpose Wednesday podcast. Keep healing, keep growing, keep walking, because purpose isn't just something you discover. What is it? It's something you live every single